Welcome to Americult. As we've said, World War III and Civil War is here, and we have proof of it. Let's check it out. Billionaire Salesforce CEO threatens to yank company from conservative states. Shit's getting real out there. Billionaire Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff, who also owns Time Magazine, said that if conservative states don't buckle to his vision of what constitutes equality and dignity, he'll take his companies out of the state. Isn't this something we're seeing nowadays, though? Not only is things breaking down on a political scale, on a civil scale, that actually companies now are participating in this civil war. So, speaking to Poppy Harlow of CNN on Friday, Benioff boasted, he said, quote unquote, making something happen that supports our employees, adding, the number one thing is that we want our employees back. Let's take a look and see exactly what he said real quick. And we actually have a video of this jackass.
This is not our first conversation about what is a CEO's role in political issues. What do we do when it comes to actually making something happen that supports our employees? The number one thing is we must have our employees back. You know, and I know, we are dealing with a whole series of crazy presidents, crazy governors, crazy mayors all over the world, in every country, in every city, in every state. The number one thing I can do is let my employees know I'm here for them and I will 100% support them. And if they're not happy where they are, you're right.
Mark, who is crazy?
I'm really talking about all of the situations that I've had to go through over the last decade, especially, where our employees will contact me and say something just is not right. You know the story, for example, in Indiana. You know, we're the largest tech employer in Indiana.
And I was going to bring up Indiana because, Mark, for people who don't know, in 2015, you threatened to not just relocate employees. In 2015, you threatened to pull all of Salesforce out of Indiana because of a law that would discriminate against LGBTQ people.
Isn't this a funny thing, though? Aerial phenomenon. Don't you kind of think that, like, they're actually taking away your livelihood if you don't go along with that agenda? Is that something that's going to help trigger this civil war?
I think it is because, you know, this is, first of all, where are his employees? And is that why they've gone? Is it because they didn't get a raise? Is it because Salesforce is not as popular as Zoho CRM or Sugar CRM or any of the other open source CRMs taken over because they're free to use for basic versions? Who the hell knows what he's talking about?
It's definitely some virtuous stuff going on there. I mean, the Indiana thing. So Mike Pence passed a law in Indiana and he threatened to pull out because it was a conservative based law. I think we're going to see this more. And a lot of civil wars don't just start with a cause. They start with a corporate agenda that leads to a virtue that public accepts. And that's when we're in war. So just to take
this guy in your part of the world, is it true what they say that corporate America runs your government?
It's a form of crony capitalism. And yes, they do. They lobby for us. They give us morals now. We've abandoned the church. The new priest or the HR department. The new church is the corporation, and we're just begging to survive. So just take a second. If you guys think that a civil war is starting and corporate agendas and corporate America is being run over, leave us a comment. Thank you for joining us.